how to negotiate with an insurance adjuster. So frequently, as you can imagine, in my practice, I'm a personal injury attorney, handle cases throughout California, sometimes in other states. I'm frequently negotiating with insurance adjusters. And so you may be negotiating with an insurance adjuster in your situation. Maybe it's not an injury case, maybe it's a property damage case. There may be some reason why you're negotiating with them. And it could be a situation where you can't hire an attorney, or maybe you don't want to hire an attorney for some reason. But if most of the time it makes sense to hire an attorney if you can, particularly an attorney like myself, because we don't charge anything unless we win the case. But in your situation, if you are negotiating directly with the adjuster, here are a couple tips. Number one, try to put as much as you can in writing. This is because you don't want there to be a dispute about what was said later. You also want to think about how the adjuster is part of a large corporate entity. And the adjuster oftentimes doesn't have much authority to negotiate with you. The adjuster has to go to a meeting and has supervisors and has to justify to their bosses why they're offering a certain amount of money or what the range should be. So you want to make that adjuster's job as easy as possible. You want to organize your evidence. You want to prepare something that's often called a demand letter that clearly lays out why you believe you're entitled to whatever it is and organizes and has the evidence. Don't expect the adjuster to do your job for you or to do things for you. So for example, you may have to go get medical records. You may have to go get it if it's a property damage. You might have to get an estimate for the repair. You will have to do that and attach it to the letter, and it should be credible. So that's number one. When you're negotiating with the adjuster also, I recommend still doing as much as you can in writing or through email, again, to prevent any sort of miscommunication, particularly early on in the case. So when you talk to the adjuster, oftentimes, like I said, they might not have a lot of authority to negotiate with you, but they will be getting you on the phone, trying to wear you down sometimes, or try to ask you questions so that they can find out information that they could use against you. If you primarily stick to writing, it's going to be much more difficult for them to do that, and it'll prevent miscommunication. So for example, if they come back and offer you $5,000, you can, and it was by phone, you can write an email saying, hey, I'm in receipt of your offer of $5,000. I think it's too low. This is all by email, and I think the appropriate number is X. That way there's a paper trail and someone can look at it later and show what was being done. If you're negotiating with the adjuster and they deny your claim outright, or they tell you there's no coverage, and this is your own insurance company, you're going to want to ask them for a written letter or something showing why there is no coverage. You need them to put in writing exactly their position. Why do you need to do this? Number one, it's for you, and so that if you're going to consult with someone later, you have that written record. But also, if you feel that the insurance company is treating you badly or lying to you or potentially insurance bad faith, or you feel like you need to file a claim with the California Department of Insurance, you're going to want that written evidence from the insurance company where they explain why you don't have coverage. That'll help you when you're negotiating with them. At the same time, you should be asking for things like your complete insurance policy, things like that. So that way you have whatever it is you need to evaluate the case. There are a number of ways that you can file a claim or complaint against them, even if you don't have an attorney. So for example, I mentioned the California Department of Insurance, for example. If you feel like you've paid for some insurance and they're unfairly not paying you, you can file a claim with the California Department of Insurance. You will want to make things as clear as possible, just like I said earlier, for the complaint, because again, these are busy government people. They are not going to want to do your job for you. They're not going to want to organize your evidence. You are going to have to take the time, show how you properly submitted a claim, show how you properly submitted evidence, and then show the response that was in writing back to you and why it's improper. that should all be part of your complaint, so that when the government employee that's looking at it, deciding if your claim is valid, it's very easy for them to do that. You can also sue your insurance company in small claims court if you feel like they're not paying properly. And in California, for example, I believe the limit's up to $13,000, and lawyers are not allowed in the small claims proceeding. But again, you're gonna wanna make sure that all of your evidence is very clear. Sometimes people call me up about their insurance problems. Like I said, I only handle injury cases, but when they do call me up or they ask me questions, everything's been done over the phone. And I'm like, look, you need to get things in writing, because whatever's been said over the phone, it's that old game of telephone where maybe you misheard something or there's a miscommunication, and you need to eliminate that, and that you do that through getting written communication. If you have an injury case where you feel like you're being mistreated, feel free to reach out to my office. Go to the website, howelljustice.com, book a consultation. If you have a insurance case that you feel like there's insurance bad faith, you can also speak with me about that. But again, I'm gonna be asking you, did you do the things I put in this video? Did you get things in writing? Did you submit your claim? How much is the claim worth? Because sometimes it doesn't make sense to hire an attorney if the claim is fairly small. And what was the response? Hope that was helpful.